you treat the company and the product as your baby. And all of a sudden, you're actually asking other people to educate that baby, to grow that baby. And you need to make sure that you have a confidence in yourself for them to do the right thing and the right decisions. My name is Tom. I'm born and raised in Tel Aviv. I'm CEO of Roby.ai, which is a startup that's specifying providing services for real estate companies, automating their processes and bringing them insights on the operations side of their business.
And I'm Chris. I'm based in London, grew up in London, and I'm head of business development here in the UK, and work very closely with Tom, and also just generally work very closely running the UK operation that we have at Roby.
Yeah, so it'd be great to really dive into how the business is split, obviously, between Tel Aviv and London. But let's take it back to the very early days, Tom. So how did you come up with this concept, and how did you see there's a real need for this?
It's a very interesting journey. I think it started from the fact that back then, it was in the end of 2015, I was at the Air Force. Like, being exposed to very new technologies that were implemented in the Air Force, realizing at the same time, by being a landlord, that the real estate market is ages behind the rest of the market, such as the insurance and the financial world. Realizing there is a room for improvement, and coming from the self pain, if you can call it, as a B2C, we started to see how can we build something for independent landlords, realizing quite quickly in the journey that the main pain points and the struggle actually exist on the company level. So switching to focus on companies, doing a beta site in Israel with several companies. One of our clients actually managed to double their portfolio without hiring new personnel. So all of a sudden we realize, wow, we have something here. We definitely can produce a lot of value for real estate companies. And we realized quite quickly that we need to expand ourselves to new market, more sustainable one. And we were struggling between Germany, UK, and US. And at the end, we decided to go to London, to the second location, and there I met Chris, and the journey with Chris started. Currently, we have 2 offices, one in Tel Aviv, mainly around the development, R&D. So they have all the developers, data scientists, product guys sitting in Tel Aviv, and all the commercial guys, sales and client facing, which managed by Chris, is sitting in London.
Yeah, so talk me through that decision then. So you said you were between sort of Germany, the US, and the UK. How and why did you settle on the UK?
So I actually spent a couple of months between those markets. I stayed there, tried to realize what are the advantages, what are disadvantages between different markets. And I think at the end, we realized that the benefit of the UK is quite significant, mainly around the fact that the people in the UK are very savvy on technology, very open-minded. Their ability to consume the technology, to understand the benefits, to be even curious to see how it can improve their business is amazing, and something, for instance, you don't see in Germany. Was the fact that the market itself is very easy to capture. So while the US is very fragmented and there's different clusters of clients and different clusters of companies, I think the benefit in the UK is that it's very easy to understand what the markets want and to service the market in a way which makes sense for commercially from the company and the client. Yeah. So for many reasons, and there is far more, we decided to go with the UK. At the beginning, I spent a lot of time in the UK. I think it's something which was a bit of a challenge for me, because my family is based in Israel, and I actually split my time between Tel Aviv and London. 3 days every week I was in Tel Aviv between Sunday and Tuesday, and between Wednesday and Friday I was in London. But I think one of the things that actually what's changed is the corona, the pandemic. I think one of the things we realized quite quickly is that, first of all, Chris is managing tremendously well without me, so he doesn't need me around to start with. And secondly, is that everything can be managed quite efficiently in remote.
And how's that been for you then, Chris, with that process in terms of really taking ownership of a huge part of the business and making sure that stays in line with the larger organization?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just generally the way that I mean, I come from a property background, so I think very much kind of having looked at the way the property market works and having lots of experience in that, it's been very, very straightforward. I think the product that we have is fantastic, and I think that the configuration that we have, whereby we have the sales team, the account management team, the implementers all based in London, so they can sit with the clients, they can really understand the way that they're working. But then we have the R&D facilities based in Israel, some of the best technologists in the world, has been fantastic. So it's been a great journey.
So it really means that you can take advantage geographically of taking the best talent from wherever it happens to sit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great. And let's take it a step back, because it sounds like you are in a great place in terms of having the team set up, having the different locations set up. So talk me through the early days. How did you get the business ready for funding once you realized, you know what, there is a real business here?
It's a great question. I think one of the things we struggled at the beginning is we didn't come from any background in corporate. We didn't know anyone that in the startup community. It was, we were a couple of guys. We decided to quit the Air Force to start the company. We knew at the beginning that we need to hire some amazing technology persons. So one of the founders is actually a friend of mine who was working from Amdocs. They're a big and leading software developer in Israel, managing thousands of developers for Fortune 500 companies. And we knew what we want to do. We knew it's going to cost us a lot of money. And as you said, the question was, where can we get the funding for it? So the start was basically talking with VCs. Everybody told us you need to talk with private angels. The private angels is the easy way to get money at the beginning. It makes a lot of sense. But we decided we're gonna aim big. And the reason we decided we're gonna aim big is because we knew quite at the beginning that 200, 300, maybe $500,000 just not gonna work, because the point that you're aiming for is going to be very expensive. The journey is going to be long, and if you really want to develop something that is going to work and disrupt the market, you need to invest all of the foundations. So, and I think the vision that we brought to the table was mesmerizing for those VCs, and all of a sudden they realized that although we didn't come from maybe the right background for it, we do aim high and we do understand the journey that we are about to take, and basically they jump on board. And the first investor in the company were two VCs. One of them is Pix and the other one is Peregrine. By the way, the one is from Singapore and one is from Tel Aviv. And this is where we started. We started with a $750,000 raise for a pre-seed. We told them quite quickly in the beginning, guys, we'll need more, tremendously more, by the way. We were very open about it. But what we can tell you quite openly and transparently, that we'll set up a milestone, and if we're going to hit the milestone nicely, then you will give us and we'll back the company with more funding. And surprisingly, they were open to the idea.
And was it as straightforward as you thought, just being able to go straight to the VCs? Is that something that you would have done differently looking back, or did it all just work out as planned?
So that's what I said. We went to talk with friends and advisors, and as I said, everybody said aim for the angels, super angels. There's nothing you should do on the VCs. Specifically now in 2015, the market is mature. The VCs doesn't want to involve in any companies which doesn't have a valid product, doesn't have sales, doesn't have something that they can vote for, and we're sitting on ourselves and said, right, we're going to go to the angels. We're going to raise those $300,000, $400,000, but we're not going to be able to do anything with it. So it's a catch-22. What we're going to do then? And we told ourselves, we believe in the product, we believe in the journey. Let's just do something that make more sense to us and try to get a check, which is almost around the 1 million, with a promising to give extra in certain milestones quite quickly.
I think just to add to that very quickly, the fact, as Tom mentioned, that he doesn't necessarily come from a rich background in real estate, has actually been a wonderful thing, because you've got a team of people who have taken an approach which is a completely different philosophy to most other systems. And so I think, even though, as Tom mentioned, you know, he's from a slightly different background, we have a situation where when you present the product to VCs, it is mind-blowing. The way that the product works is completely different to any other product on the market, generally.
And then what changed in the business when you secured the funding? What were the things that you brought into place almost immediately?
I will say that first of all, we all of a sudden we had resources and time to invest in the product. I think for a company, being on the roadshow and trying to raise money, it's a very dangerous situation to be in, because you can find yourself investing too much in raising the funds rather than actually developing the product. And you need to make sure that you're limiting the amount of time that you're investing in raising the funds. Otherwise, it's a split of focus that can go sideways with the company. So the minute we secured the funding, we actually started to invest a lot of the development, and we quite quickly realized that we need to have an A team. We need to have a core of people inside a company that can do two things. First of all, there will be the foundation that will build the product, and secondly, they're also going to be people that have potential to be the management layer of the company moving forward, because it's very important. And specifically right now, and we can see it, the company is now more than doubling itself in less than half a year, and the guys that were with us from the beginning is an anchor and a crucial part for the company, allowing it to grow quickly and efficiently.
And what advice do you have for other founders that are following that growth trajectory, where they are maybe doubling, whether it be over 6 months or 18 months or whatever it may be? What are the real challenges there, and what do you have to keep in mind?
I think the first one that popped into my head is the fact that it's very easy in many ways to manage a company of 8, 9, 10 people. Why? Because you know exactly what everyone is doing. I know exactly what Chris is doing. I know exactly what you're doing. I see your calendars. Everything is synced perfectly. Everybody knows their role. The minute you're developing yourself around the 20-25 range, then things start become complicated. Why? Because you need to make sure that the efficiency and the productivity levels that you had at the beginning are kept. And secondly, you need to make sure that there's no overlap between people inside a company, and everybody know exactly what are they doing, and the machine is being built properly to be the machine of all machine in terms of the execution of the company. And it's very challenging. And I can say that we've been changing the model a lot. We actually just changed the model in terms of how company operate internally a few months ago. And I think it's something that you need to understand, that your product is something very agile, very developing. Also, the structure of the company. It's very agile, it's very developing. The people have a certain amount of responsibility at the beginning. They have different responsibilities moving forward. And people need to come to the process without any ego. People need to come open-minded. People need to come open for changes, because I think what we're keep telling ourselves again and again and again is be open-minded to your product. Don't fall in love with your product. Be agile. Be very agile and open for changes. But we need to understand that you need to be the same for your company and your operation. Otherwise, there's going to be a gap that you will pay with a lot of time and resources.
And I think this getting that team structure and the company culture absolutely right is key for when you're looking to expand internationally as well. So Chris, how has that been for you in terms of maintaining those processes, culture, and so on in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the main things is that we, as Tom mentioned, we have a very, very good structure around the, if you like, the A team. And you know, we don't have any situation where there's lots of layers of bureaucracy or lots of layers of hierarchy. People who report to me should feel very comfortable, do feel very comfortable going to somebody like Tom or any of the other founders or C-suite executives. So I say that that's probably one of the biggest things. And I think also just really sort of valuing what the employees do. You know, it's a startup, and you have to appreciate that at times it can be tough. And you know, the way that I often describe it is almost like being kind of a very small boat on rocky seas, and you don't know when the next thing is going to come along and perhaps kind of knock you down. So it can be very, very tough. But you know, if you are built that way and you're prepared to work hard, it can be extremely rewarding. So yeah, it's been very good, very exciting journey so far. And as Tom mentioned, the fact that we are doubling in size and potentially looking at other locations as well. Moving forward, it's an extremely exciting time.
So Tom, what does all this do for you then, Tom, in terms of your role day to day? So how is it different today than it was sort of pre-funding?
think it's a wonderful question. First of all, let's look on the product side. I was involved in any feature. Every screen, every bits and bytes of the product, I was in it. I knew exactly what's changing. I had an opinion about everything, and I wanted to be involved. And I think today, which there's features that have been delivered to clients, that have been pushed to versions, that I see them for the first time when they're already in the live environment, which is great. But it took me a while to get to this place, because bear in mind, by actually starting the company with my co-founders, you treat the company and the product as your baby, and all of a sudden you're actually asking other people to educate that baby, to grow that baby, and you need to make sure that you have a confidence in yourself for them to do the right thing and the right decisions. And I think it's something that takes time, but I can say that right now we're in a very good place around that. But it definitely is something that you need to allow yourself to let go. And secondly, is around I will say, being tactical versus strategy. I think today most of the tactical element, the day-to-day stuff, being managed by Chris. So if it's something that around the business development, it's something around clients, then it's probably Chris will be the one who take care of it. I'm more dealing with the strategic element, the fact that we need to plan for expansion during 2021 to new markets such as Germany and the US. I'm more dealing with the fundraising moving forward. I'm more dealing with investor relationship. So I'm more looking outside of the company or long into the future. And I think Chris is more looking into the company right now, today, what's going on, what do we need to do in order to be better. I think that this nice balance between the looking long into the future and looking today is what makes the difference between my role and Chris' role.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a couple of times that you will be looking at other markets in the coming months or year. What are the other really big goals for the business in the next 12 months or so?
So two things that we're looking forward into 2021. First of all, we'll say that we see 2021 as a very interesting year to have. The real estate market is probably one of the only functioning market right now in terms of financial wise in the UK, and with all the backing from the government, we have a lot of hopes for the market to continue growth tremendously into 2021, specifically from the fact that those real estate companies during the pandemic actually got more and more lean, so their profit is going to be higher and they will have more room to consume technology. Also, the experience that everybody had during the pandemic and realizing that people and the situation can move quickly and you need to be able to adapt to changes, actually open their minds to embrace more technology. So we do see 21 as a very interesting year to have, specifically for the growth of the company in the UK specifically. But outside of the UK, we're definitely going to expand into new markets. Germany is going to be the first around the mid of the year, and New York, US is going to be around the end of the year. And I think it will come with a very interesting challenges, specifically for the management of the company. So you have two offices. It's nice. It's a challenge, but we managed to cross it nicely. Now, all of a sudden, we'll double the amount of officers that we'll have, and we'll still need to function at the same efficiency level, at the same productivity level, and to give our clients the service that they're used to. And it's definitely something that we're investing a lot of time and effort and thinking to see how we'll accommodate that. Another thing that will move forward into 2021 is right now, our client is enjoying a lot from the automation, the sophistication of the robotic process automation. But definitely another thing that will kick very strongly during 21 is all the AI engines into Roby. So all of the smart insight, Roby will be more autonomously operated inside their organization and companies. And you will see Roby communicating with agents, with clients, with stakeholders in a way that they never see before, more autonomously and more independently.
And with the markets that you're looking to expand into, so Germany and New York, for instance, are there certain challenges you expect to face more with one than the other?
Yeah, the beauty here is while the product is the same, the Lego bricks is the same, the clients and the companies are different. It's different mentality. They're looking for different goals. They're trying to solve more or less different problems for themselves, but they're all using the same technology. This is why the product is scalable, because it's serviced holistically and agnostically different types and breed of clients. And I think this is something that we'll see. For instance, in the UK, we're mainly focused on residential. With Germany, it's going to be more around the commercial side of the market, and with the US is more around the multifamilies. So it's kind of mix of both.
Interesting. It sounds like such an exciting time for the business. So for those listening in, where can they find out more about yourselves and the organization?
So I welcome everybody to join us and Google Roby.ai. It's also the URL to get into the website. Feel free to look at our blogs, at our articles. We try to publish a lot of stuff on Twitter and also on LinkedIn. So feel free to follow us over there. Specifically, a lot of thought leadership around the robotic process automation. So if you are keen on technology, specifically around those areas, either it's prop tech, robotic process automation, or how it fits with AI, then I welcome you to go and learn more. And if by any means you have a company and you think the product is for you, just drop us your details over the website or through the social media, and we'll be happy to jump on a demo.